I don't know what the hell is going on with the fairy tale anime lately, but this episode was probably the worst episode thus far since its return. From seemingly what I'm gathering based on watching these episodes, especially this particular episode, I'll give the anime some credit because, in all honesty, to be completely honest and be fair, the anime isn't really necessarily the one doing the bad job. It's the material that they have to work with. Let's be clear here, because the executioners, they aren't like, the most interesting bit. They aren't the most interesting villains or anything like that. And it's actually, if anything, a compliment to call them villains. Pretty much, the anime in this episode, while it was stretching it out, and this was for the most part, an entire filler episode. There were some canon bits here or there, but it was mainly filler. At least they're trying to treat them a little bit more like a threat. They're trying to make them seem a little bit more credible. They're actually not just getting creamed immediately, because in the manga, these dudes were nothing. They got owned very quickly. So the anime is making it a little bit more credible and making them look a little bit less like a joke. So I give the anime credit in that aspect, but just overall, the way it was done, and it was filler, and they're supposed to be executioners. They're supposed to be, skulls are left on the ground because of them. They're hardcore and everything. And why are we getting TaiTai a million times in this episode where he's getting his hair done and everything? I was just like, what the fuck am I watching? This episode, it was just filled with filler bits, and then some stuff from the canon that just, it blew my mind, in retrospect, looking at it now, where, like, Arcadios, he was completely dipped in lava up to his head nearly. It was right here, and he just looks like he has a stomachache and some, like, bruises. It's like, oh, I was dipped in lava. Like, if you were dipped in lava, bro, you would not be here. You would be disintegrated into ashes. So the way that was treated was just, like, out of this world. I was just like, well, okay, I guess maybe his magic or something protected his body. I don't know. It's fairy tale, whatever. So at the end of the day, I'm not gonna harp on that completely, although it is completely like, what the fuck is going on? The fights in this one, kind of okay in certain parts. Like, it was nice to see Yukino go in with Pisces and their true form and everything. It was like pretty cool bits there. So the fights, again, the anime for the most part was doing its job. It's just what it has to work with in a sense, because this could have been some good filler if it was actually interesting villains, hardcore villains, or just overall something to work with. But they're working with TaiTai, so the anime can only do so much. The art and animation for the most part was beautiful yet again. There were some bits where the art kind of looked a little bit wonky, like Lucy's eyes looked like they were cross-eyed and popping out of her head, but for the most part, the art and animation in this episode was really fucking good. It was actually really fluid and nice looking. It was pretty on the eyes. And again, them trying to make the executioners better than they were in the manga, good stuff on them, but it's just some of the stuff in between, the comedy with TaiTai and shit like that, it was just not funny. And overall, it was just like, we didn't get any progression. There was no character development. There really wasn't much, in all honesty. The two main bits that I can give credit to this episode is art and animation, as well as pretty much the fact that the anime is trying to make the executioners look better by having their fights a little bit more longer and just overall making them seem a little bit less than what they were, or a little bit more than, shall I say, what they were than the manga, because in the manga, they were garbage jokes. The anime, they're still garbage and jokes, but they're slightly less garbage and jokes, if that makes any sense, because at least they're trying to hold their own in the anime. So I give the anime credit for those two bits, as well as the fights did look pretty cool, and it was kind of like making things look a little bit more interesting than they overall were in the manga, because coming from the manga, I know this, trust me. So, in that essence, I'll give this episode a 4 out of 10. It was still a bad episode for the most part. Not really anything happened, being completely honest with you. It was just like, what the fuck? The fights, none of them really concluded or anything. Did the Natsu fight conclude? I don't even think the Natsu fight concluded. It might have, I don't know. But the episode ends with Lucy and Aquarius, and it's kind of hilarious that a Lucy and Aquarius moment in the manga was just 10 out of 10. I loved it. In the anime, we just got a Lucy and Aquarius moments, and that just goes to show again that this is really the manga's fault, because yes, it's filler, but they're trying to do something good, but there's not, they have so little to work with because it's the executioners. They're just not good characters, and no matter what the anime tries to do, it's like, you try comedy, that doesn't work. Nobody, like, TaiTai, really? So, just overall, this episode, again, 4 out of 10. It was, I was like, what am I looking at? Come on, the executioners are no threat. And while they're trying, if anything, they try to make them look better, and a certain way they did because they're holding their own, but in all honesty, they shouldn't even have bothered. They should just breeze through this material and keep it moving. Just show that Fairy Tail, they'll kick ass or something like that, and just breeze through them because they really aren't no threat. Hopefully next week all these fights get done with the Executioners, because any more of them and I might just start going TaiTai for the rest of my fucking life. Let me know what you guys think though. Did you enjoy the app? Are you getting a little tired of the Executioners? Do you hate them? What did you think about this app in general? For me, it was just like a letdown because, I mean, Fairy Tail came back, and again, I gotta stress that I don't feel it's the anime's fault. I truly feel it's what they have to work with, and this just wasn't good bits in the manga. It just wasn't. So they're trying their best to do with what they're working with, and also you gotta remember they're trying not to catch up, which is good in that sense as well. I'd rather have prolonged filler where it makes things look a little bit more interesting than, you know, catching up and then getting canceled again or some shit. So I give it in that aspect. And just your overall thoughts of the episode. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or you enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I greatly appreciate it. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.